Tour Junkies. We're the Tour Junkies.
What's going on, Better Sports Network? It is the Tour Junkies Golf Show. It is February. It is Waste Management Week. It's Super Bowl week. We're fired up. I'm David Barnett. Pat Perry, how we doing, buddy?
Doing fantastic. It's a great week. It's a wonderful week. One of the best golf tournaments of the year, and the Super Bowl on top of it in the same town. It's going to be awesome. Cannot wait to get going. And we just got a fantastic field this week. An elevated event, DB. Elevated.
It's
New
stacked.
heights.
Yeah, it is stacked. I'm excited. We talked about it on the show last night, on our own show. Like, other than the Masters, this might just be the best golf weekend in the year, because you're going to get all the waste management action. And then right after it's over, you can just click right over. There's hardly any delay, and it's Super Bowl time. So I'm excited about it. We're going to break down the waste management. We're going to talk about things you need to know, trends, our betting approach. Pat's bringing just the tip this week, and maybe some other thoughts. We've got a special guest, Josh Larky from the 33rd team. He's going to come on and talk about one of me and Pat's favorite things to talk about this time of year, and that is Super Bowl props. We love the props. We love the weird props of the Super Bowl. Hope you do too. But we're going to try to bring you that in segment 3. And as always, our cash locks. We're going to do a cash game discussion at the end. We're going to have a good time. But first, Pat, we got to recap. It was Old Guy Week at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. You called it and then left Justin Rose off your betting card. What are we doing, Pat? What have we learned? I need to hear from you what you've learned. I need to know that you've been thinking about this and
processed it
up. Yeah, because this was all you. You had him. You were all over him.
Well, it's not all about me. It's not all about me. The fact of the matter is that not only did I talk about Old Guy Week on our show, and I gave out Justin Rose and Matt Kuchar at 35-1.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, our friends over at Moose and Keith, they have a show on the BSN Network. It was my maiden voyage onto their show last week. I gave them Kuchar and Rose. You can choose. It's up to the folks out there. They can choose. And I gave them both as potential winners at 35-1. Rose wins. Now, what did I do? I put Kuchar on my betting card instead of Rose. I don't know why. I don't know what happened to the brain synapses that went from our betting show where I said Rose was my favorite out of the two, all the way to Wednesday when I put out my betting card and I changed it, and somehow Kuchar became he just morphed himself onto my card, and I didn't have him on there. But at least he was discussed. And so hopefully folks did not do what I did and they won some money. But yeah, you learn from that. You got to listen to yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
You got to listen to yourself, DB. I also learned how much that golf tournament just drives me crazy.
Yeah. That's the thing I wanted to say. Like, what do we want to tell ourselves? Let's fast forward to, late January, early February of 2024, Pat. We're another year older, another year behind us. What do we want to tell ourselves as we lead up to the AT&T Pebble Beach shit show? I mean, Pro-Am. What do we want to tell ourselves?
I think we need to just tell ourselves to calm down, maybe take a week off, because the waste management is going to be coming the next week. And so we just say, hey, you know what? Let's take the week off.
Save some bankroll.
Or maybe it's always Old Guy Week, and we just you bet two old guys like Rose or somebody, and you just move on. I definitely think you dial it back.
It was bad. Like, for me, it was total carnage. It was terrible. I had a terrible week betting, DFS, the works, prize picks, everything. It was all bad because there's just so much variance going on. It's so I nailed the long shots and the really sorry guys like Ben Martin and Satoshi Kodaira and those guys. Like, I had those, but then I had like Spieth, who sucked, Mav McNeely, who withdrew because he hurt his ego, all kind of stuff going on. It was just a rough week for me. And next year, I definitely want to remind myself to back up, take a breath, slow down, half the bankroll, use the other half, and go 1.5x the bankroll for the waste management, because it's just so freaking exciting. But Pebble Beach is a beautiful golf course. It's a beautiful place. it feels cheapened by the amateur status and having to put up with the long rounds and watching Jason Bateman play. Yeah, I love Jason Bateman. I don't care to watch him hit golf shots. I just don't. Um, or whoever it is out there doing their thing. So, yeah, next year we got to back off. I think we got to back off, but good on you for at least giving the people at Moose and Keith the rose play. That's good.
Yeah.
I think I'm going on tomorrow with Moose and Keith, and so I'll be sure to sing your praises and make sure that we revisit that.
Yeah, just don't talk about Eric Van Rooyen. Just
Oh, did you
forget
throw
about
that
that.
one?
Yeah. Yeah, throw
Okay.
that one out there.
Well, we'll be talking about the waste management here in the next segment, so we'll slow down there. Any other hot topics, storylines, stuff from pro golf? I gotta say, a couple of things since we did the show last week. First off, another Netflix trailer has dropped for the Netflix Golf Full Swing documentary. I think we showed it on this show just a few weeks ago when the first one hit. Well, the second one's dropped. It's a couple minutes, and it's still just like, I mean, by the time this bad boy drops, like I might be all like clothes off, just fully ready to go. Like, what's the
Hmm.
what's the scene in the movie where he's like in front of the TV and he just like rips off everything? Is it Jim Carrey? Didn't he do? You know what I'm talking about? He's just completely naked. Like, he's just so excited, he can't help it.
I
That
don't know. A lot of people get excited and naked.
Yeah,
It
I am
happens all the
lathered.
time. Yeah.
I am lathered for this documentary. I mean, you had more Ian Poulter, and the direct question, "Are you going to live?" And he, like, kinda side eyes the camera like this. You had a lot of I guess we're gonna see some Brooks and Jenna behind the scenes at the
Yeah.
house.
Mhm.
Brooks just being a bump on a log, boring. Jenna probably trying to inject herself into as much of the show as possible. I can't wait to do it. I would love to know. I don't know, like, I'm trying to think of a good thing to do in terms of content for it, like some sort of reaction podcast or watch party. I don't know if anybody has any ideas, hit us up on Twitter. But your thoughts? Did you see the trailer? Are you?
I did. I
That's
actually
excited
watched it again right before we came on here, and, did you notice a lot more frustration in this trailer? Like, just throughout, there's a lot of frustration going on. Like, even at the end, DJ's mad at somebody for parking their golf cart somewhere, and he's just like,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
there's just people are upset, people are grumpy.
yeah.
I like that, though. I like a little frustration in there. So,
Oh, there's gonna be some drama. There's gonna be some drama. February 15th is when it drops on Netflix. I think every episode's dropping. Seen a couple of people on Twitter who've already had free full-on previews to the whole thing, talk about how amazing it was. Also heard some dude who thinks he knows it all on Twitter say that it's not gonna do anything for golf. It's not gonna lift golf in any way, which is just asinine. Like, I don't know how that could happen. Guy thinks he's smarter than
did you say
everybody
it's
else
the
in the room.
15th?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That's pretty smart too when you think about it.
Why? Day after
Well, I mean, if
Valentine's?
they did it, like, on the 14th and all the dudes are out there trying to watch that on the 14th on Valentine's, they're gonna get in trouble. So I mean, golf again saves the guys.
Yeah, thinking about us. That's good.
Yeah.
I guess the last little bit of news that kind of made its way around the internet, kind of thanks to us. I think we kind of started it. I've seen local news stories. I've seen national news stories cover it. We
Yeah.
saw friends in England cover this. It was in Bunkered, which is a British, I believe, British golf news outlet covered it. Rumors that either Live or Augusta National has bought a large chunk of land right outside of Augusta, across the Savannah River, right on the state line there between Georgia and South Carolina, just maybe 10 minutes from the Augusta National. At first, I leaked a screenshot that got sent to me of a text message, and I did a video about it, that it was Live buying it. As soon as I did that, the DMs come flooding, and I'm getting all these Augusta people, local friends of mine, other people I don't know, DMing us talking about how it was a certain family in Augusta that sold it. Maybe even a shell company's buying it, but it's really Augusta National. All these rumors flying around. Very fun to watch. If you haven't seen the videos, it's on our Instagram and TikTok pages at tour_junkies. You can go watch those quick videos, get caught up to speed. It's also fun to see people on social media who like don't listen very well to what I say, who think they hear me say one thing and then they don't. So they comment something. I'm like, "You're a jackass. Like, you're clearly not listening or paying attention." Also, the point of social media when you make a post like that, when you're in business like we are, to like grow your social media, is to get reaction. So, you know, I'm not a sucker. Like, I get it. And if you're paying attention, I say little things that would indicate I don't believe this is real. or this is really happening, or that but people are such idiots. So anyway, it's interesting because the rumor is that the strongest rumor is Augusta National bought this property to then possibly build a ladies course, on this property and move the Augusta National Women's Amateur to this location from my home course of Champions Retreat, which could be interesting. But the rumors are flying. It was fun on the internet for a couple days. Like I said, go check that out. We're going to be right back. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to preview the Waste Management when we get back. Pat's Just the Tip. Our guest, Josh Larky, talking Super Bowl props and the DraftKings cash lineup of the week. Stay right here with the Tour Junkies Golf Show on the Better Sports Network.
Tour Junkies on Better Sports Network. Moose and Keith. Weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern.
The word genius is there. Bob Glover, it describes him. Bob, so when's the last time that Twitter defeated you? Because I've been defeated by Twitter today.
I'll tell you how Twitter defeated me one time. I had the mistaken impression that the year that Troy Polamalu won the Defensive Player of the Year, it looked like it was going to go to Clay Matthews Jr. And I tweeted it. And there was a guy on the media bus. He was like, oh, yeah, he's got it, a guy I trust. I won't tell you who it was, but his initials are Mike Garafalo. So I went with it. Got a DM from Rich Eisen, NFL Network. He goes, you sure about that? I go, oh, man. Oh, I just got this wave. Because, like, accuracy to me is really important.
Yeah.
So I'm literally on the media bus. We're just getting back from media day. We are slipping and sliding in Dallas. It's snowing. I get off the bus. I open my laptop. I am hunched over. And I just, like, literally people are passing me. Bob, what's wrong? And it was Polamalu. And Adam Schefter had retweeted me. Trey Wingo had retweeted me. I'm like, oh, I'm dead.
So when it's Polamalu, then how do you handle that? Like, what was the subsequent tweet
I think
afterwards?
I said, got some bad Twitter info. I didn't put Garafalo's name on there. I had to
10 years later, you can out him. I like that. Yeah.
He wouldn't mind that. He knows the stories.
Yeah.
He actually said to me, hey, Bob, I think you might have jumped the gun on that. I was like, oh, crap. There we go.
Campus to Canton on the Better Sports Network.
Would Dion bench Shador?
I don't think he would.
Like, how bad would it have to be? Because we've seen horrendous quarterback play from this Colorado team for the last, 5 years? JT Shroud, Brandon Lewis, just terrible quarterback play. Like, they were 131st, which is dead last in pass EPA per play. Obviously, it will be better, but how bad does it have to be for him to bench his own son? Like, I'm not sure he will ever either, like, especially with the attitude that he came in with.
If they don't get Rashada, who do they bench him for this year anyway? I don't know that there's another answer on that roster that you go to. They don't really have a guy behind him. So I don't even know if we would know the answer to that until the next year, assuming that, he doesn't declare for the draft, he returns, they bring somebody else that's competent and behind him.
If they're going to do this the Lincoln Riley way, next year would be the class to bring somebody in. Shador Sanders is going to be a third-year player. So he's going to play 2023. I don't think he's declaring for the 2024 NFL draft. So he's going to play in 2024 and then declare for the 2025 NFL draft. And let's remember this. He hasn't had a full recruiting cycle at Colorado. He will have that next recruiting cycle. So maybe he could get one of these class of 2024 quarterbacks there to come to Colorado.
However you're invested in sports, from betting to fantasy, collectibles, and more, join our community on Better Sports Network. Making you money in daily fantasy sports and golf betting. Tour Junkies on Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Network is sponsored by Lucra. Lucra is redefining friendly competition from cornhole and Peloton to the Super Bowl and the NBA. Compete in games you play and the sports you watch with Lucra. Download the Lucra app right now to create a contest and bet against your friends in as little as 15 seconds. Use promo code BSN when you sign up and receive a free $10 to play with, plus a 100% deposit match up to $100. Winning is fun, and beating your friends is even better with Lucra. All right, welcome back to the Tour Junkies Golf Show on the Better Sports Network. Talking the Waste Management this segment. Going to do a little preview for you, tell you the things you need to know, betting trends. Pat's got Just the Tip for you. And then next segment, we got special guest from the 33rd team, Josh Larky, talking Super Bowl props. Pat, let's get into this. So we finally are done with all this, multi-course rotation stuff like we've had at Torrey Pebble Beach, yeah. So TPC Scottsdale, the only course we're dealing with here. It's a staple on the PGA Tour. It's a par 71, a little over 7,200 yards in Scottsdale, Arizona. Regular event where top 65 and ties are going to make the weekend after the cut, after round 2, 36-hole cut. It's Tom Weiskopf design, kind of that desert style. It's a little harder than maybe some of the courses we've seen early this year in 2023. Winning score probably somewhere in that maybe 16, 17 under. Right now, the weather looks pretty perfect. It's going to be pretty breezy on Thursday as of now, but no precipitation at all this week, which means the course is going to dry up, play a little firmer, a little faster, and a little more difficult with each day, which is exactly how it played last year. The green surfaces are kind of a mixture of this Bermuda with a little POA overseed. They pretty much roll pretty freaking pure. Everything else is kind of that rye fescue or Bermuda feel. So, you got that. In terms of past champions, I think that's something we need to pay attention to. Last year, Scotty Scheffler won it. This is the problem when you're betting this golf tournament is not a lot of long shots, Pat.
No.
Do you remember who the last triple-digit bomb winner was here at the Waste Management?
Only because you mentioned him on the show last night, and obviously that was one portion where I was actually listening to you. And Kevin Stadler, I would say, is the last bomb.
And is he a State Farm agent? Who knows? He could be. But
Yeah.
Kevin Stadler, last triple-digit bomb to win here, it was in 2014 at 125-1. But since then, we've had winners of 40-1, 28-1, 11-1, 50-1, 22-1, 14-1, 50-1, and 25-1. Pretty short to kind of that mid-range in terms of golf, in terms of golf betting. Guys like Scotty Scheffler, Brooks Koepka, Webb Simpson, Ricky Fowler, Gary Woodland, Hideki have all won here in those years. So kind of a who's who of ball strikers. That's really the name of the game here. These guys are going to hit a ton of drivers on this golf course. It is a very driver-friendly course. The rough isn't too bad. If you're in the rough, that's okay. You just can't be in the desert and in the native area. And also, a lot of the trends would point to, similar to Pebble last week, which, Pat kind of touched on with Justin Rose. Still didn't bet him. Not bitter. But the trends do point to experience here at Waste Management. A lot of the winners have either had a good finish or have played this tournament before multiple times. So, not a whole lot of first-time winners here, not a lot of first-time success. That's kind of the rundown of what I think you need to know. Pat, is there anything you think I missed that we just need to make sure the folks understand?
No, I think a couple things when you're looking at players that you're trying to pick this week. We always look at strokes gained approach, and a lot of courses we're on are second shot golf courses. This is one where I think off the tee is huge. You got to be good, not just accurate, really, because it's pretty wide, and there's no rough. But what there is trouble. Okay, you could end up in some sort of cactus or something, or just some gnarly looking,
remember when Tiger got behind the rock and how all the people move?
Yeah, there's water off the tee too, so you got to look out for that. So one of the things I'm looking at is bogey avoidance. I want to look at some guys that don't get into too much trouble off the tee and they don't have the big scores. So I think that's something important that we look at. But yeah, I mean, and in this field, with it being an elevated event, you've got, I think 18 of the top 20 players in the world. It's just going to end up being another shorter odds guy that wins. Now, we may not have Rory or Rahm, who are both, pretty much right there together as far as the favorites. But I do think it's going to be somebody in that, less than 30-1 range that's going to win.
Yeah. So you got Rory and Rahm, who've both won, I think, 4 or 5 times out of their last 8 or 9 starts each. I mean, literally the 2 hottest golfers on the planet right now. And I was looking at Vegas odds. Implied odds of one of those 2 guys winning is up over 20% right now, which is pretty huge in golf. I think you'd give Rahm the edge with all of his experience here. He comes here every year, played golf at Arizona State, very familiar with this place. This is going to be kind of a hometown Rahm crowd. Rory doesn't typically play here. He's played here once in the last 5 years. Played well, but just doesn't typically make it happen. So you got those 2. And yeah, I mean, I listed off all the short numbers that have won in the years past with a pretty strong field, and now the field is even stronger. I mean, if we get anybody longer than 35-1, 30-1, we should probably feel pretty lucky here in terms of getting a long shot through as an outright winner, because down the stretch, like 16. So 16 is the most popular hole, right? That's the hole that they build the stadium around, the par 3 there. It's wild. Starting at 16 on Sunday, like we saw this with Sahith Theegala last year. Sahith gets to 16, 17, and 18, and the pressure ratchets up big time. 17 is an awesome golf hole. It's a short par 4 that guys can drive or guys can lay back. And even sometimes laying back like Sahith did last year. I remember this. His juices were flowing. The adrenaline's pumping. He laid back to a hybrid and still reached the water. I'm pretty sure it was a hybrid, but it's a tough finish. Like you got to have your, you got to have everything in check, right? And it's going to be a fun tournament to watch. So, but I definitely think you're going to be hard pressed to find a long shot to do well here. And I couldn't agree more in terms of being off the tee is super important here. And you don't have to be a bomber either. We probably should have said that. Webb Simpson's success here. Chez Reavie back in the day had a lot of success here. Fowler, not necessarily a super bomber, but Hideki either, not really a bomber, but you just got to be long and straight off the tee because you're going to hit a ton of drivers here, and you obviously want short clubs into these greens. So those are the things you really need to know for the Waste Management. If you want more intel, want more picks, want more breakdown, you can check out the podcast, the Tour Junkies podcast, as well as the Tour Junkies YouTube channel. We got a ton of content for you. Now, one of our favorite segments as we've started this Better Sports Network show here this 2023 is we want to, a lot of you guys are dipping your toes into the golf betting and DFS waters for the first time. And so we want to educate you. So we bring you, yet again, just the tip. And Pat Perry's got it for us today. Pat, give us what you got.
Well, I'm excited about just the tip today. We've kind of been building to this, DB, because we've talked about grass surfaces. We've talked about lineup construction kind of with ownership and that kind of stuff. You talked about that last week. But now we got to put all the things we're learning, into practice. It's like you go to law school, but then you go into practice. Okay, so we got to do those things. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about contest selection for DFS. So whether you're playing DraftKings or FanDuel or whatever in fantasy golf, contest selection is important. Okay, and one, what are we trying to do? We're trying to make money, right? So that's important. But then also we want to do that smart, but then we want to build a bankroll, that kind of stuff. So here's some things with contest selection that I think you need to look at, especially starting out. One, you can play some free contests, DB. Go in, if you're starting for the first time, go in and play some of the free contests for the week. Give yourself a chance to learn what it looks like once you've put that lineup together and just kind of see how it's going to go maybe a week or two. Okay. I know everybody wants to jump in. They want to go in just jumping into the deep end, DB, and ready to make some money. But you need to start, maybe go into some free contests and just see how it is. Then if we're talking about really building a bankroll, you want to look at the 50-50s and the double ups. Okay. So these are the contests that all you got to do is beat half the field. Okay. It's not like you're trying to, just get the nuts line up and beat better than 20% of the people in there. Like literally all you got to do is beat half of the people. And that's all you got to do. We talk about this with the cash game lineup that we'll put together later on. We're just trying to get a good base, mostly cut makers in there. You do want some upside, but we're really just trying to beat you just double our money. Okay. Go from $25 to $50. Go from $10 to $20, whatever. Okay. So that's important. Now, when you get into tournaments and trying to win a little more money, I think you got to avoid like 150 entry max tournaments. Okay. It's just, if you're putting in 3 entries into a 150 max tournament, you're going to get eaten up by all the sharks. Okay. Everybody's eating you up. Okay. You might as well just go ahead and go to Australia, go to where the great whites are, and just like throw your body in there. Okay. Cause that's what's going to happen to you. All right. You need to start with single entries for the tournaments. All right. They got a $5 single entry in golf. They got a $12 single entry. You can win some serious money doing that. Now you still have to beat, 25% of the folks in there to be able to win that single entry, but you can also win a little more if you're in that top 20 to 25% than you would if you're playing some big 150 max tournament. So I think the single entries are a great way to start tournaments and just get in there, see what you can do. Then if you win one of those, or maybe come in the top 5 or 10, then you're really building your bankroll. And then maybe start to enter some of those 150 max tournaments or things like that. But I would wait on that. You need to go into the single entries. You also got a chance to play some head-to-heads. That's a little bit different. You want to play against your buddy. Those I think you got to really look out for. I think there's a lot of sharks out there that are just trying to get you in a head-to-head. So if I'm doing a head-to-head, you want to be able to choose who you're playing against. Like I'll play against DB because I feel pretty comfortable that I'm going to be beating DB, but I don't want to play some guy that I know who's got 100 head-to-heads just sitting in there waiting in the lobby for me to take, because all he wants me to do is take him because he knows he's going to win those. So there you go. I think that's the contest selection talk. You got some buddies contests that you can do in there that I think are fun, but you really want to make some money, get started out. That's the way I would do it. DB, any thoughts on that? Anything I missed?
Completely agree. Start out with cash, dip your toe in, 50-50s, double ups for sure. And as you evolve into those tournaments, never play in a tournament that you can't max out. So if it's single entry, 3 max entry, whatever, don't play in a tournament if you can't max it out. I get it for like the big tournaments. If there's a millionaire maker, you get excited, you want to throw one in there, whatever. But just don't seriously, don't take yourself too seriously if you're doing 10 entries into 150 entry max milli maker. You're just negative EV right off the bat. Like you're in trouble right off the bat because you can't max out your entries. So contest selection, super important. Love that. Just the tip there from Mr. Perry. We'll have another one of those next week. I'll bring it for you. We'll keep bringing the heat on these. All right, we got to take another break, but when we get back, like I said, our friend Josh Larky, Director of Fantasy and Gambling at the 33rd Team, is going to talk to us about Super Bowl prop bets, the ones to avoid, his favorite ones. We're going to bounce them off of him. It's going to be exciting. I love this part. Then we're going to wrap up with our DraftKings cash lineup of the week and maybe some other discussion about the waste management. Stay right here on the Tour Junkies Golf Show on the Better Sports Network.
Tour Junkies on Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Network is sponsored by Lucra.
Now being joined by Dylan Robbins, the CEO of Lucra.
Lucra is a unique new platform, but it really has a basis and a very simple idea is that we think that people want to bet with their friends, right? Our product is built off the fact that the casual fan is at the bar or at their buddy's house and they're putting $5 on the game and they're doing it on Venmo. And I think that there's a huge opportunity to open the market up to all these casual fans. A lot of people who feel boxed out by the traditional sports books because they're too complicated or there's complex jargon. They don't understand the lines or the spreads. And so Lucra's goal is to just make it simple. And our favorite way of doing that is we just connect you directly with your friends. So it's a social platform. It's peer-to-peer. We're not the house. We don't take any risk on these wagers. We just are a marketplace to kind of connect you with your friends directly to engage. So it started as just a business for sports. We've expanded outside of sports now. We offer 150 recreational games, from cornhole to beer pong to darts to Wordle to Peloton, you name it. You can challenge your friends now on Lucra. And you've got all the gaming and tracking and stats and leaderboards to go with it to make it fun. So it's a bit about what we do, and excited to chat with you guys about it today.
What's the future growth of Lucra?
Good question. I think for us, it's really the expansion outside of sports. I think that we've proven that sports is a great model. We've got a ton of great customers who love our sports product, but we're really paving the way or really innovating on this recreational game side of our business as we think about all these unique categories and areas where people are competing. Spike ball, pickleball, all these things that are blowing up across the globe right now. Lucra is the first real way where people can bet with their friends on these games. And so we're getting a lot of new customers from that, a lot of brand awareness from that. And I think we're just trying to iterate that product, make it more fun, make it easier. But we're going to keep our ethos the same, casual, social, and fun. That's what Lucra's about. Our average contest is $10. This is not about bankrupting your friends. It's not about winning big and paying your rent. It's about the magic of the moment and making that moment better by having $5 on the line. If you ever played a round of golf on Sunday or watched a football game, you guys get it. You put a few bucks on it. It just changes the way you interact with that game. You watch it longer. You spend more money there. And it gives us a lot of time for us to another opportunity for us to partner with other brands because of that.
Better Sports Network is sponsored by Lucra. Winning is fun, and beating your friends is even better. Download the Lucra app today to challenge your friends and win money.
Now back to Tour Junkies on Better Sports Network.
What's going on? Welcome back to the Tour Junkies Golf Show on the Better Sports Network. I'm David Barnett. I got my partner in crime, Pat Perry. We've been breaking down the Waste Management Phoenix Open, but you know what else is going on in Scottsdale this week other than the golf tournament? The Super Bowl. Duh. Like you guys know this, all right? And with the Super Bowl comes one of our favorite things to do every year, and that is bet on Super Bowl props. Now, I sent a poll out there on Twitter, and I said, hey, tell me who's the prop god out there for the Super Bowl. I need to know. And a trusted source, my boy Emmett, Easy McDeasy, tagged this guy. This guy is Josh Larky. Welcome into the show, Josh, Director of Fantasy and Gambling at the 33rd Team. You can follow him on Twitter at JLarkyTweets. What's up, man? Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, you guys. I was going to say, I think the viewers out there can decide what they think, because I'm going to run down some prop bets that I like and don't like for the people on this show today. So you'll be able to know if you agree with Emmett or if you think Emmett is full of baloney. So I'm excited to find out what the feedback is.
Yeah, this is great. Well, before we get into it, Josh, tell us a little bit about what is 33rd Team and what you guys do over there.
So a little bit of background on the 33rd Team. So for 2 years, it was a football think tank set up by two former NFL GM types in Mike Tannenbaum and Joe Banner. So for 2 years, they were doing some football research on the side with a very heavy focus on internships for college students. God, that's a noble mission.
Yeah.
May of this past year, they reached out to me with an even more noble mission, and they said, hey, we want to monetize this 33rd Team brand even more. We would love for you to hire and create a strategy, build a department out for a gambling wing of this football research company. And I said, that sounds to me like the dream job. So here I am today. We now have a team of 20 that work really, really hard to give you data-driven and engaging fantasy football betting, and DFS content.
Dang, dude, that sounds delightful. I want all of that at the 33rd Team. Good for you, man. That's awesome. Okay, so you're the prop guy. Tell us your process. Talk to us about the process and maybe tease us with some bad props as well. Let's get into that. Because me and Pat gave out a bunch of props last night on our own show, and I'm interested to see if you're going to I got a feeling Josh is probably going to poke some holes in some of our props, but let's roll with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no pressure on that one. So my process, I try to blend my football intuition with my analytics background. You see a lot of prop bettors that they're very, very analytics heavy, and they're like, I've done the math, I've crunched numbers, X, Y, and Z. And then you're a fan of football and you look at that and you go, no. You're missing this major intuitive component. Or there's the people that are just like the gut feel kings, and they're like, I woke up this morning, my dog ate his cereal left to right. We all know that means that it's tails for the coin toss. We're betting tails. So I try and find some kind of middle ground where I have the football intuition. I've been a football fan my whole life with the analytics background. I have a master's degree in analytics. Clearly, I don't put that to good use since I'm not working for a bank or an oil and gas company. So I try and use kind of that skill set that I've developed over the years. So when I'm looking for props, I want it to have a mix of creative thinking and math. I'll put it this way, because you might be like, what do you mean creative thinking? I'll tell you why we don't necessarily want to take a prop where there's a very straightforward math way to solve it. Because there's a good chance the books have someone that has just done that. So here's an example of a prop I saw, and I was like, oh, good gravy. This is absolutely terrible. DraftKings has a prop. Will there be a scoregami? For those that don't know that term, look it up. Or you can just trust me. It means that it's a unique final score. So I'll give an example. I would bet there's never been a football score that's 107-86. That would be a scoregami. That we're not going to see that score, but the idea is it's a score you haven't seen before.
Mm-hmm.
The odds for there to be a scoregami are plus 2,000, which translates to about a 1 in 20 chance of scoregami. That happens way less than 1 in 20 times for games. The books can easily calculate that. They say, how many games have there been in NFL history? How many times do we have a unique score? One number divided by the other number. Now let's screw everybody with the odds. That is exactly the type of prop that uses math that you're not going to take because the books have already done it because it's too easy. Another one that cracks me up, I hinted at it already, is that coin toss prop. I learned this morning that betting tails is one of the 5 most bet props for the Super Bowl. This is a true 50-50 event. They do not use a weighted coin, yet the odds are less than 50-50. They're basically giving you like a 49% chance of each side hitting. So these books are just going to make a ton of money off of people thinking they understand where the coin's going to land. We don't really know where the coin's going to land. And then the last one, I love Rihanna. Truly, I've seen her in concert. I consider myself one of her biggest fans.
Really?
But unless you have true inside information, betting on her outfit color, betting on her first song choice, that is just a degenerate bet. You can have fun, you can bet it, but expecting to actually make money sustainably long-term betting on stuff like Rihanna's outfit, that is not a great path to succeed.
Yes,
I love that. I'm also happy to know you did not mention one of our more talked about bets on our show last night.
Yeah,
I thought it was going to come out.
What was it? I have one more that I can just grill, but I want to hear yours first.
No, you go. What is it?
Yeah.
All right. The last one that I hate are the wild touchdown parlays.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Okay, we got
so these always seem too good to be true. It's because they are. Books make an absolute truckload of money off these things. So I did some research and I was like, hey, let's think about players that I have seen score a touchdown in an NFL game. I have seen Travis Kelce, Devonta Smith, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Boston Scott score touchdowns in my lifetime. As a fan, you've seen them score. It's visceral. You feel it. If I think that Kelce, Devonta Smith, Juju, and Boston Scott score touchdowns in this game, what is that going to happen? Maybe, I don't know, 1 in 10, 1 in 15 games, right? That feels like it's going to happen pretty often. And then you see the odds of it happening are plus 18,425. So if you put $10 in, you get over $1,800 back if you win. So you go, oh my God, I've seen these guys score. It's going to happen. Without realizing that this is truly just uncorrelated, meaning Travis Kelce scores, that doesn't really affect if Juju scores, which doesn't affect if Devonta Smith scores, etc. And that you're ultimately choosing events that are pretty random and unconnected. You think you're getting great odds. Really, the sports books have done the math on those. And these touchdown parlays are simply a great way to give the sports books your money.
Gosh, Josh, I love this. This is great stuff. I want
So
you
wait,
to.
you don't think that both Kelce brothers are going to score a touchdown at 150 to 1?
Both Kelce bros.
I mean, come on.
That's
They could
impossible.
hand it off to the offensive line, Kelce, just to do it.
I did see you can actually bet on which position will win Super Bowl MVP.
Yep.
They've juiced those odds across the board. The funniest one, you can bet on an offensive lineman to win Super Bowl
Saw that
MVP.
too.
And I think if you just think about it, what the heck would it take for an offensive lineman to win Super Bowl? I don't think it's possible. They'd have to run like 3 trick plays and they'd have to catch all 3 touchdowns. And even then, it's probably still Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes that wins it for throwing those passes, not the lineman. So there's some really wild stuff out there.
All right, so I got to run through this bet because I've hit this bet 2 years in a row, Josh. I've hit this bet 2 years in a row, which obviously means I'm going to hit it 3 years in a row.
Yes,
and that is the Gatorade color at the end, right? That's the one I thought you were going to go to. So the color of the first Gatorade poured on the winning head coach. My selection this year officially is on DraftKings Sportsbook plus 450. It is red/pink is the bet. What are your thoughts on the Gatorade bet?
So I don't bet that, but I do think this is a better bet than like the Rihanna song. And what I have seen is that this is something that is more likely to get leaked than what outfit Rihanna's wearing. And that generally at some point the Gatorade color will get leaked. Not with 100% certainty, but I'm willing to concede that with the Gatorade stuff, you can have some type of inside info. I don't know if you do or not. Maybe you just have a lean towards it, but I have heard that it gets leaked. I don't know what the leak is yet. Yeah. I've seen the 37-34 score leak, which is quite hilarious. That for all the people, the conspiracy theorists that think the NFL is scripted.
Yeah,
I saw that leak from someone basically used Wikipedia, which is a free open source website. For those that don't know what it means literally anyone out there can post whatever the heck they want.
Yeah.
And act like it's official. So
if I hit this for the third year in a row, then people are going to start thinking I'm getting inside intel. But I'm not. I have my reasons.
Yeah.
We'll
I chose
move.
a different color for my reasons, but
Yeah. So all right. So talk about some bets, Josh, that you like. That some prop bets that you're on this week.
I've got some normal ones. I've got a couple exotic ones. We'll start with an exotic one. This one's really fun. On Caesars Sportsbook, they have about 150 what they call novelty props. There's a little, you swipe on the app, you scroll across, it's like player props, touchdowns, game props, blah, 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 blah. Novelty. And you're like, oh, that's like an antique store. Click on novelty. Scroll down about, I'm trying to remember. It was like quite far down there. I think it was like 40 or 50 down the list. Which team will score the longest touchdown? Eagles and Chiefs are both minus 115. Making it seem like it's roughly a 50-50 bet. Which team will score the longest touchdown? Here's where they get you. People are probably betting the Chiefs, right? Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, like, who has the better arm? Mahomes or Hurts? Mahomes. He's going to score the longest touchdown. But I looked into this, and this is overwhelmingly a bet that favors the Eagles. So even though it feels 50-50, touchdowns scored this year over 40 yards. Eagles 5, Chiefs 4. Touchdowns between 30 and 40 yards. Eagles 6, Chiefs 2. Touchdowns between 20 to 29 yards. Eagles 7, Chiefs 3. The Eagles are actually the kind of team that scores long touchdowns. The Chiefs this year do not. The Chiefs have a lot of big plays, but when it actually comes to scoring touchdowns, they're usually punching it in from a few yards out. So obviously no bet is guaranteed to hit, but this is one where the odds just do not match up with what we saw this season.
I like that.
Yeah,
all right. Give us another one before we go to a break.
All right. This one I really like. We're just going to bet against Jerick McKinnon on the ground. So I've already taken his longest rush under 9.5 yards. The line moved in my favor to 8.5. We're still going to pound that under. I saw it at minus 114 on FanDuel. This season, Jerick McKinnon has had 87 carries in the regular season and the postseason. 87 carries, 7 of them were over 8.5 yards. Dang. For those that don't want to do the math, that is 1 in 12.5 carries. 1 in 12.5 carries, McKinnon is over that number. Only one of his past 5 games, he even had more than 5 carries. The most carries he's had in a game this year, 11. Like, what? This is just mispriced. He's averaged 1.8 yards per carry the past 5 games. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is now going to be active and taking some rushing work.
That's right.
You're probably getting 3 to 5 inefficient carries from Jerick McKinnon. And this is just a totally mispriced line. The Eagles' run defense is actually about league average at this point. Since fortifying that midseason with Ndamukong Suh, Linval Joseph, Jordan Davis, their star first-round rookie, is now back and healthy. So essentially, we're just going to bet against Jerick McKinnon on the ground. He's a great receiving back. He is an awful, awful running back.
Love that. Love that. All right, give us another one. Come on, keep it rolling, Josh. These are good.
Oh my God, we're still rolling. All right. I really like Jalen Hurts over 21.5 completions. Plus 102 on FanDuel makes it feel like a roughly 50-50 type thing. And you might say, Josh, you're an absolute idiot. Jalen Hurts has only been over that number in 5 of 17 games this year. And you would be correct. Jalen Hurts is usually under this number. But this is where the pure mathematical person who doesn't watch football and doesn't know what to look at for props is going to be missing out on valuable info. This is a matchups-based prop because quarterbacks against the Kansas City Chiefs average 37 pass attempts and 24 completions per game. 24 completions per game on average is well above the 21.5 number for Hurts, but it gets even better because Malik Willis, the Titans' truly horrific third-round quarterback selection, when he faced the Chiefs this year, he completed 5 passes. So you mean to tell me that they're averaging 24 completions against the Chiefs, and one of those was a 5 completion game? So like the average should actually be like way higher than that.
Yeah.
15 of 19 games this year, a quarterback was over 21.5 completions against the Chiefs. Here's the only quarterbacks that were under 21.5. Malik Willis, 5. Obviously, he sucks. Derek Carr, that one was it's a little surprising. That is the only blemish. The other 2, Bryce Perkins, when he spot started for the Rams, he's terrible. And then when Davis Mills and Jeff Driscoll had a little QB carousel tandem game for the Texans, that's it. Literally every other quarterback that has faced the Chiefs in the regular season, postseason, has been over this number. I think we would all agree Jalen Hurts is decently good at football.
Yeah.
I think they're going to dial up a lot of quick passes for him. They're going to give him those layups, easy completions. And I think he goes over this number.
Love it. Josh, can you stay with us for just a little bit longer? Can you stay with us for just the top half of the last segment?
Yeah, let's see. I've got 2 more props I really like.
All right.
So I can
Stay
get 2
with
more
us.
after the break.
We're gonna take a break right here on the Tour Junkies. This is a golf show, but it's Super Bowl, so we gotta get props. All right, stay right here on the Better Sports Network. We'll be right back.
Making you money in daily fantasy sports and golf betting. Tour Junkies on Better Sports Network. The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
Before the year, I said the Eagles were going to win the NFC East. I don't know if you remember that. I am a Cowboys fan. I do hate the Eagles. But anyone who has listened to me over the years knows that I can be objective. So I tweeted out, has there ever been a team that has an easier path to the Super Bowl than Philadelphia? Of course, the Eagles fans got on me. And I wasn't really alluding to the regular season. I know the tweet could be taken that way. But when you look at this playoff path, they had a first-round bye. Then they beat the Giants, okay? But anyone who was being reasonable, especially with Jalen Hurts, knew the Giants were not in the class of Philadelphia. Then you get to the NFC Championship game where the quarterback got hurt early in the game. And then the 4th-string quarterback, Josh Johnson, leaves with a concussion. And then they couldn't pass the ball. That's your path to getting to the Super Bowl. It doesn't mean that I'm saying the Eagles suck. I never said that. People are so sensitive. Anyone who's listened to me all year, I have given this team props. But the fact is they had an easy path. And like, well, they destroyed both teams. They did. Now the 49ers are good. And then someone's like, oh, well, they beat your Cowboys. Who did I pick to win last week? San Francisco, right? I picked San Francisco to beat Dallas. I didn't want that to happen, but I'm analyzing the game. I despise the Yankees. Anyone who knows me knows that. I had every Yankee starting pitcher on a fantasy roster last year. Every one of them. This year, the Superflex draft that we did, an industry draft, I took Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, Daniel Jones, Kadarius Toney. And people afterward, you a Giants fan? No, bro. I want to win. It doesn't matter what team they're on. I don't care. I want to win. Do I despise those teams? Yes. But I want to win. If I feel they're the best fit for my fantasy team, I'm going to draft them. If I feel a bet is going to win and I hate that team, I'm going to bet it. It's about winning. It's about helping people make money. We all have that little bias in us, no doubt. But I will say this, I'm being honest. I hope Philadelphia gets smoked in the Super Bowl, okay? I am rooting for Kansas City. My man Patrick Mahomes, my dad played for the Mets. But I will analyze the game objectively, okay? Because I want the Eagles to lose. That doesn't mean I'm picking Kansas City. I'm going to analyze the game because I'm going to look at it as if I'm putting my money down. So it has nothing to do with that. And I don't know why people automatically, oh, you're a Cowboys fan, this and that. Well, yeah, I see your stupid avatar that you're an Eagles fan. You're clearly biased. Can we just agree that their path was easy? It doesn't diminish that they're in the Super Bowl. I didn't say they should be there. I just said the path was easy, and I don't think that's factually incorrect. And I didn't mean it for the regular season. I know it could be interpreted that way. Did they have great wins? No, but you know what? It doesn't matter. They were 14-3. They beat everyone they're supposed to beat. You know, they lost 2 games without Jalen Hurts. It's not discrediting them.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com. Weekdays at 5 Eastern on Better Sports Network. Helping you have more fun with golf. Tour Junkies on Better Sports Network.
What's up? Welcome back. The final segment of the Tour Junkies Golf Show. Today, we've got our boy Josh Larky, who's bringing the heat, the director of fantasy and gambling at the 33rd team, talking Super Bowl props. Loved it in the last segment. Wanted a little bit more of it here, Josh. I want you to give us one more lock, but then me and Pat have a couple more we just want to throw at you and get quick reactions. Then we'll let you go. Then we're going to wrap up the show with our DraftKings cash lineup for the Waste Management Phoenix Open. How's that sound, Josh? Thanks for coming on again.
That sounds good. So I've got 2 more. Do you guys want one more player prop, or do you want a parlay? What are we feeling?
What do you want, Pat? You call it, Pat.
Let's hear it, Pat.
I think it would be nice. Let's do the parlay. Get a parlay.
All right, here we go. So what I like about parlays is I try and find stuff where it's correlated. I keep mentioning that word. Essentially, I want stuff where if one event hits, the other one is more likely to hit, which is why just growing like, oh, like he's going to score, he's going to score, he's going to score. And it's just tallying up touchdown scores. Generally a great way to donate to the books. But I love Kadarius Toney. He loses me money every single week, and I just keep coming back for more punishment. I don't like betting 50-50 type props with Kadarius Toney. I think anyone that watches football has seen Kadarius Toney get injured multiple times.
Yeah.
You don't want to bet 50-50 stuff with him, which is why I look to the parlay market. Kadarius Toney's healthy. He's said many times to the media he will be playing this Sunday. With the Chiefs, he has 5 games this year with a snap share 25% or higher. That's a pretty low bar. I think he's going to hit that in this game. 2 of those 5 games, he had at least 57 receiving yards. 2 of those 5 games, he scored a touchdown. 1 of those 5 games, he did both the yardage and the touchdown. He left with an injury after 4 snaps against the Bengals. He was targeted twice on his 3 routes. 1 of those times was in the end zone. This is insane usage. When he is out there, he is peppered with targets. The parlay, go to FanDuel, have Kadarius Toney reach 50 receiving yards and score a touchdown. Those 2 events together that have happened in 1 of 5 qualified games, where each one individually has happened in 2 of those 5 games, the odds are plus 1156, which implies it's going to happen about once in every 12 and a half games. Obviously, we don't expect this to hit. It's why it is a plus odds parlay. I am not giving this as a lock like it is going to happen, but mathematically, this is an incredibly savvy play based on his usage and based on those odds.
I like it. Kadarius Toney is scary, but yes, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Josh, I got two props I mentioned last night on our show. I want to throw out there, and I'll let Pat throw some in there too. I'm guessing this first one you're probably not going to like off the rip, but I just want to see what you say. This one's fun. Combined jersey numbers of all touchdown scorers. Have you seen this one on DraftKings? It's the under.
I have.
It's 170.5 minus 110. I took the under. I'm thinking guys like Jalen Hurts, like Patrick Mahomes could run it in. You got Boston Scott, you got Smallwood, you got Miles Sanders, you got Pacheco, all low numbers getting in the end zone. Devonta Smith wears number 6. Really, what I'm worried about is Travis Kelce, AJ Brown, and maybe your boy Kadarius Toney. What do you think about the under on 170.5?
All right, so let me just give some personal info for the viewers, and then I'll dive into that. So,
okay,
let's get it out of the way. The elephant in the room. I'm single. I'm lonely. I go to therapy. My background for live streams absolutely sucks. Probably more bland than my personality. That being said, if there's one thing in life I am good at, I can move lines in the betting markets. I actually bet this. I wrote an article at the33rdteam.com yesterday on novelty props backed by math. And I bet combined jersey numbers of all touchdown scores under 170.5 as well. That line is now 160.5.
I'm a genius.
David, we have moved the line 10 spots down. So
love it.
Here's how I came up with that. Because I agree. I looked at the relevant jersey numbers. The only players on the Chiefs that are skill players with jersey numbers above 24 that have scored are Blake Bell. He scored once this year. Noah Gray scored twice. Justin Watson twice. Kelsey 15 times. Jody Fortson twice. On the Eagles, the only guy that's done it is Dallas Goedert 4 times. Essentially, what I did is I looked at the Chiefs' distribution of these touchdowns, and I said, okay, if only one of these guys with a number in the 80s scores a touchdown, we're good. Because, like you said, all these guys have such low numbers. Like Jerick McKinnon is 1, Mahomes, Hurts, Brown, Devonta Smith. All these guys have really, really low numbers.
Yeah.
So what I did is I took those Chiefs players and I just looked at the games that they've scored multiple touchdowns from their big men. And it hasn't happened very much. And then what I did is I looked at Dallas Goedert the past 2 years with Jalen Hurts. He scores in 26% of his games. I did some pretty advanced math, used my analytics background for good for once, did some coding, sprinkled in a Dallas Goedert touchdown 26% of the time to the Chiefs' distribution of touchdowns from their big men this year. I simulated that 100,000 times. And as it turns out, just under 40% of the time are you going to simulate 2 big men scoring a touchdown. which means that about 60% of the time we're getting 1 or 0 touchdowns from a guy with a number in the 80s, meaning that at roughly 50-50 odds, we are taking that under.
60% of the time, it works every time. God
There
dang
we
it, I
go.
love it. Josh, all right, Pat, hit
Oh.
him with the last prop, and then we got to let Josh go so we can do our cash lineup.
Okay, I gotta. Golly, I got so many here. All right, here's a kind of an easy one. I think it seems easy, but they're giving us plus money. So this is why I want your thoughts on it. First touchdown of the game, rushing touchdown, you're getting plus money. You're getting plus 160. Okay, now you got guys like Jalen Hurts who could run it in. You got Patrick Mahomes that could run it in. They've got other good running backs that can run it in. Why? I don't know. Should I not go rushing touchdown at plus 160 though? Because I really feel like that could happen. I really feel like it could happen.
So, unfortunately for the discussion, I haven't researched this one. Gut feel, it sounds pretty good. I'll say why this might not hit, because I do know one stat that would be kind of contrary to this. But as I'm thinking through what the odds of plus 160 are, it does sound good. And if I had to choose right now to bet it or not, I would lean towards betting it. The Chiefs did allow the most passing touchdowns in the NFL this year. So I think that's kind of like the one notch against it. However, we do know that the Eagles skew pretty heavy rushing touchdown because of people like Jalen Hurts, like you said. So gut feel, I do like this one.
What if we do
I've
this?
done the math, but I'm currently on board with plus 160.
What if we do this, Josh? Why don't you do some research if you want? Hit us up on Twitter, and we'll share it out to the Better Sports Network community. It'll be another freebie. Does that
Sounds
work?
good. So it's first rushing touchdown, or first touchdown will be
First
rushing
touchdown.
or passing.
Yep, I think it's plus 160 on DK.
Yeah.
Josh, thanks for joining us, Director of Fantasy and Gambling at the 33rd Team. You can follow him at Larky Tweets. We appreciate you coming on, man. This is really good stuff. Hope you have a successful Super Bowl. We'll have you back on one of these days on the Better Sports Network. Thanks, man.
David, Pat, thank you. It has been a blast. I looked forward to nothing more today than this show. I have been holed up in my room doing research on these props. It's good to be able to tell the people what I'm betting on. I'm going to go get some sunshine now. Thanks, boys.
Do it.
There you go.
Do it, man. Thank you. Oh, man. Josh Larky, that was great stuff. All right, we got just a few minutes, Pat. We need to make this quick. We got our DraftKings cash lineup. We whiffed last week. Cash games was terrible last week. AT&T sucked. We're 2-2. Let's get it started. If I'm playing cash on DraftKings, 50-50s and double ups, I'm going to start with Sung J M at 9,200. Great record here, playing great. Give me Sung J.
Okay, I like that. All right, I'll drop us down then. Let me get into the 7K range so that give us a little room here in 7K. And I'm going to go with DB. I know this guy can be frustrating, but he is a solid player, and I like him here. Keegan Bradley, 7,700.
Yep, love it. I love your Keegan play. I'm going to go a little bit lower. We're really going to be able to spend up here after this, probably. I'm going to go at 7,300. It's the guy at the bottom, the lowest price that I feel the best about is JT Poston. Playing great record. Give me JT.
All right, moves us up to 8,600 here. This is a good spot. How about this? We'll just go with the cut-making machine and a putting machine also. Taylor Montgomery at 8,300.
Full send. Love that. All right. And then I'm going to give you a lot of room to work with on this next pick, Pat. I love this guy at 7,600, finished 6th last year. His first start in 2023 on the DP World Tour, finished 5th. Alex Noren at 7,600. That leaves us 9,900 for the last player who you got.
Ooh, wow. Alex Noren. I didn't see that coming. All right. Here's what I think we go with. We got a lot of options. We got Max Home up there at 9,900 if we want to spend it all. You know what, though? Yeah, we could in the cash game. I feel really, really, really good about Colin Morikawa at 9,700.
Thought that's who you were going to say. Yeah, Morikawa is rolling the rock right now, which is dangerous when you add that up with his ball striking. So that gives you Colin Morikawa, Sung J M, Taylor Montgomery, Keegan Bradley, Alex Noren, and JT Poston in cash. 50-50s, double ups on DraftKings. That's your cash lineup. Hopefully we get back on the winning train here. I can't believe we're 2-2 in cash line. We should be crushing this. All right.
Yeah, we should
be. Pebble Beach was just a disaster. So we'll get better. We'll get back on the track here. Remember, in the cash games, you're just trying to get 6 guys through the cut. Don't get caught up that you don't have John Rahm or Rory or Scheffler in your lineup. Don't worry about that. Okay. We will be back next week. Another good show next week. We'll debrief from the Super Bowl, all of our losing props, maybe debrief from the Waste Management. So come back next week. Tour Junkies Golf Show on the Better Sports Network.